That'll wake up the kids. Jeez, that was loud.
Always do your sound test first.
John's frozen again, but
He's just doing this silhouette challenge.
It's like the NFT John in the corner.
Yeah. I'm sure he'll log back on. What's going on?
All right, welcome to Talkin Tokens on a Tuesday. We back from a little week off. You know, sometimes it gets busy. We're just a bunch of dudes living normal lives, and we're back on it. John will get back on here in a second, and the markets are a little different than when we left everybody off 2 weeks ago.
Definitely.
And we're going to talk about some macroeconomic things that may be driving that. Let's get the banner up here so we can. Oh, that is not the right banner. See, sorry about that, everybody.
Yeah, we're 38,107.
38,107. See, just 2 weeks ago we were in the 40s. What's Ethereum at? Like 26?
26.
26. There we go. Save it. Roll it. All right. So 58,000. We kind of had like a nice little rise up, and then the wheels fell off again. But we didn't make a new low.
So no, we did not. We kind of matched the last little dip.
So let me get the thing up here while we're waiting for John to get back on. Share the screen. Oh, there's Johnny boy. Oh, crap, I just removed him. All right, there we go. John, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. I've been hearing everything.
All right. Well,
there we go.
We can't hear you. You're like a ghost. You're like you were NFT John for a second. You were like,
yeah. It's just like a silhouette. About to sell you for like 10
Right.
Cool. What'd I miss?
We were just introducing, the show, and now we're getting right into Trading View. Here we go.
All right. Yeah, I knew we had a little bit of a recovery recently, but looks like it's come to a stand still.
Yeah, we kind of recovered, and then we kind of took 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But I was just saying we didn't make a new. Man, why is this taking forever to load? We didn't make a new low. We're still holding at least an upward trend overall comparatively, but if you scale back to about a year, it's almost been like a sideways movement. Man, Trading View is like pooping it up right now. What's going on? Sorry, everybody. It's like loading 1 pixel at a time. Okay, here we go.
It's all the wind outside.
It's all the what? The windows?
The wind, yeah. Do you guys got some wind out there?
No.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed to be pretty windy over here. Yeah.
Oh, you know what it is? I have the BTC node running. Hold on real quick. Let me get that off here. So you gotta shut down your programs before you start the show.
That'll probably be good.
I guess while we're waiting for that to load, I mean, obviously macroeconomics are affecting the overall markets. If you're in crypto, if you're in regular stock markets, brink of war or the threat of war, and uncertainty of what could happen, whether it goes to war or not, if it's just a conflict, like people don't want to have uncertainty, and that affects markets in general. So that's kind of like, I think, the general assumption of kind of what's going on lately, but
well, like people are going to run from the risk on to risk off assets, which I've been keeping an eye on gold too, and it hit as high as like 1920 earlier, which kind of matched its May high back, or June 2021 high. But so people have been kind of maybe shifting their money a little bit in that perspective.
Back to gold.
Yeah, quite possibly.
Let's take a look at that real quick. So gold, I have that down here at the bottom. Gold.
It looks like it's going to do a big cup and handle at like 1900, and then it could break above that possibly on the daily.
Yep. Yeah, I saw that in a TA group. They mentioned that as well. Cup and handle happening.
Right.
Yeah.
So on the daily, let me get rid of this thing.
But yeah, we'll see.
So you're saying this is a cup right here, or the cup from?
Kind of from like
handle.
It's just like from May. I mean, not all. It doesn't go all the way back. It goes from like June 2021, and then which is the high of like 1900, 1916, and then then it reclined. But then we had this like steady climbing and new higher lows each month, and then I mean it's just been stair stepping its way up to currently around 1900. But.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, I guess since 2022 started, it's been
pumping up, right? So
way up there. So is that taking away from
other markets, probably?
Yeah, people pumping in the gold.
So I mean, remember that's what people. That's the old. Maybe that is the inflation hedge, or just like the place where people run to that they think it's more stable, rather than like basing it on like regular equities or securities.
So here's the SPX. Like we've been looking at this yellow brick road. It was holding that for like forever.
Yep.
Then
it's like on life support.
Right. Then they had this. I was tracking this like little triangle here, and then that broke down. So it's like, geez,
it's hanging out for dear life.
What's the target of the triangle? I mean, that's pretty big.
I mean, if I didn't really have like 3 points on each side, but yeah, I guess it would be somewhere like down here. Like
it looks pretty bad, to be honest.
Well, I think what it would be is like, we just broke this daily, like 200-day average. Like we're well below that now. So what's next? I guess it's, I don't know, pretty big correction. Hopefully we don't see something like that, like the big boy in like
the coronavirus
land.
COVID crash.
Right, but
I mean that was pretty steep, but this one's pretty steep also. Like if you just look at the direction it's going, it looks pretty.
Maybe this is the correction for the gains that we've seen since that crash.
Yeah.
Can't just keep pumping up. You need a little dump, but.
Yeah, it just looks like a huge boost leak on a dyno.
It's like here's where your coupler popped off.
So this white line on the logarithmic scale, I drew like from all the way back from like, I don't know, let me go back 5 years. No, I think it's even farther than that. So I was like trying to find some like really long-term trend line where it just kept going up and up and up. And I'm like hopeful that's not where it's touching, but I don't know. You can see like we've gone well, you deviate well off and you eventually make your way back down to the line, and then you kind of like go way off and then go back down the line. I don't know. That'd be really far away. And hopefully that's over like a 3-year period. So I don't know. That scale is crazy. But anyway.
It's almost like just going back in time.
And so let's look at what we came here for Bitcoin. So we're way zoomed out. Let's zoom back in. Let me go on like a 6-month scale. So last 6 months, we've made an all-time high, and we've also kind of touched the 6-month low or got very close to it again. Let me turn some of this stuff off. So we were tracking down. Let me turn this back on to like dailies.
Ever since November high, all-time high, it's just been like this sell-off, and we can't get above like the daily, like the EMA ribbon on the daily.
Yeah, and we were tracking this nice, like we hit the low of 32,000, and then it was like pumping, rumping, and then hit this like resistance zone and tried it twice, but then failed again. And obviously this is like a result of kind of the recent action of the stuff and the uncertainty that's happening. But the good thing is it seemingly has bounced on this orange trend line, which I was tracking. Yeah, I was trying. If you zoom out, you can see this like upwards channel in the 2 orange lines that I was tracking. So that's kind of like a bull flag on like the 2 year, move
Right.
up and then
huge, right?
In an overall positive trend. So we have these two red lines are this summer's recent lows of 28,000, and then the recent low of 32,000. So we didn't break a new low. We have a higher high and a higher high and a lower or higher low in both cases. So even though it feels like we just went sideways, which we pretty much have over the long term of like 6 months, it's still technically from this scale,
Right.
positive upward direction. So
right, maybe you're just going to make these little gains. It holds these little lows, but
well, I mean, the next place, if this trend line holds, the next place for this to go is to wiggle its way back up eventually to where it once was the 69,000 again in this channel. If we're a break lower than this, or we create a new low past 28,000, then there's no doubt we've solidified the bear market, but people are still
all-time lows.
Yeah.
Or you're gonna get trapped in between the red and the orange, but like on the bottom of it. Yeah.
Right. Like, that would be, playing around here and just messing around for the rest of the year or something.
Right. You're just going sideways, and then we're back into like the halving pattern, where it's just going to take X amount of time to then get back to the next bull market high, 2024.
Well, I mean, that's a lot of analysts are like, the 4-year cycle is over. The 4-year cycle is not. It was only a 4-year cycle because it was just like the first couple of years. Now it's like it's developed and matured, and it has different players and formulas.
Yeah, I mean, no one really knows. Only time will tell.
Like the Plan B thing that we were following, the stock to flow model, all of that's kind of out the window now. So it was based on the previous 2 cycles that he was projecting.
Right.
But then the very first cycle that he was trying to project was not right. So then it wasn't a projection at all, or at least it wasn't.
Or at some point, is it just going to catch back up?
I don't know. I mean, I guess it's possible.
I think a lot of it is dependent on what's going on with Russia right now. I think that's kind of the biggest thing.
I mean, yeah, there's no doubt. It's like no matter what you're invested in, most people have probably lost money in investments over this short period of at least in securities and equities.
Right, in the short term. I mean, unless you had the foresight to move it. Or
so do you want to sell your Bitcoin into the USD, which is inflated anyway? So even if everything's going down, I'd rather be I still want to be in crypto, and I still want to be in Bitcoin compared to the US dollar right now, because you're not making money on that either, even if you're just holding the dollar.
Right. Or maybe people shift, like, and then gold was there, and it's just been this steady upward trend, and people argue that Bitcoin just hasn't. It's known maybe as the inflation hedge or the hedge that people run to, but just hasn't been that in the short term, possibly.
Yeah, I think so. Mike, your video turned off, right?
Yeah, for some reason, it just no bueno. Sorry. Pulling John.
All right.
You just decided to take off your shirt or something.
He's peeing.
I'm like, I'm too hot down here.
Yeah, so here's an article. Russia may use Bitcoin to circumvent massive sanctions. So, I guess it's kind of speculation, I guess, at this point. But, they're trying. So, U.S. is launching sanctions if they move into the territory. Obviously, that's like sanctions via the financial institutions that exist through dollar, but they're trying to get around that by using cryptocurrency. And I mean, that's in theory the whole point. So
yeah.
We'll see how that turns out. They are not banning cryptocurrency. They're actually made a bill about it, I think a couple weeks ago. So we'll see what happens there. Another example of this is kind of an older article, I guess, at this point, but everyone's been following the Freedom Truckers up in Canada are neighbors
to the north.
There's some truckers coming here to DC soon.
I know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right? Yeah, they're
DC
coming to
convoy is
DC.
on its way for the State of the Union, I think. So Canada blacklisted the Bitcoin that was given to, donated to them through those various websites.
Addresses.
So they're blacklisting the addresses that are associated with those donations, and those financial institutions within Canada are legally not supposed to allow them to do anything with it. But that doesn't mean they can't spend it. That doesn't mean, people have to understand that just because someone says you can't do it doesn't mean you can't. Now they may not be able to on-road and off-road the fiat via a Canadian institution or company,
right?
But they could sell it to anybody who's willing to take it at any moment. And ultimately, those coins, someone tracked it. Let me see.
It's on CoinDesk. They have it.
Yeah, let me see. Where's it at?
It says they distributed 14.6 BTC among 90 protesters.
Yeah. So right here it says. So basically, this little map, you can go look on the blockchain and see it. And I know it's hard to see really. And it's a little better. So they can see where the initial address was, that 14.28 BTC, and then which addresses the distribution went to. So it looks like they cut it up into different 0.14 BTC chunks, and then ultimately they moved to different wallets and ultimately made it to Coinbase and crypto.com. And Coinbase and crypto.com did not comment on this article or the people. So they're not saying if they're doing, if they're allowing it to, I would assume that Coinbase being an American company and crypto being they're from Singapore or something, right?
Singapore.
They don't really care about Canadian blacklistings or whatever. So I'm gonna assume they would be able to just continue to move forward. But you can see, it's funny how you can see it distribute and get walked through.
Right.
A lot of money.
They said the address is blacklisted, and then they moved the funds, and they're like, how dare they do that?
Right. Exactly. How much is it? It's 14.2 BTC, which is what, 780,000 or something? I think
780,000 at the time. It was 20 Bitcoin and then 0.14 each.
Right. So just another example when an authoritarian government tries to crack down, crypto. That's what's doing its job. So the DC convoy is supposed to come here this weekend or
I think it's around the weekday. Isn't it
March
20 or something?
The March 1st is the State of the Union.
Oh, it's March. Okay. I thought
there
was
something. It's a Tuesday.
Oh yeah. Oh, so next Tuesday.
But I mean, that's the State of the Union. I think that's kind of the timing wise, or when they wanted to be here. I think that's what I've heard. But they're going to shut down 495, or at least attempt to, or I don't know. We'll see how that goes.
Damn.
It says a convoy from Pennsylvania is expected to arrive in town Wednesday, which could create gridlock nightmare on the Beltway. State and local law enforcement have called in the support of the National Guard in anticipation.
Wow.
Yeah,
right.
So that could escalate quick. I mean, they're putting the walls up around the Capitol.
Again?
Right. So it's if the people come to peacefully protest and petition their government, they're blocked out from even going towards the Capitol or near it. I know that's a touchy subject, I guess, but I mean, people should be able to move around freely if they're not, doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
All right. The next one, Terra. We've been talking about Luna and Terra UST. getting backed by $1 billion in Bitcoin.
Wow.
Foundation Guard raises $1 billion in Bitcoin. UST on the rise. Luna price, although Luna's like sitting at like $53 right now. I think this was just a big raises $1 billion in Bitcoin. So Luna's like one of the highest LVT coins out there right now. So UST just doing good. A lot of good things on the Luna side. Let's get out of here.
Any Shiba news?
I don't have any Shiba news. You're the Shiba master. Have you heard anything other than like that Shiba restaurant? That was the last thing I've heard.
There's a lot of shit going on with Shiba. I think today there was a Shiba AMA on Reddit. I think it started an hour ago. I didn't watch it, but
Really?
they're talking about some stuff. But they're partnered with Activision and Blizzard.
Really?
Which is yeah, they're gonna make like video games and shit. And
use Shiba to like fund the transactions inside the game or something?
I don't know. It has something to do with metaverse. Yeah, just metaverse and gaming and stuff. So I think that's pretty big, that partnership. And I think Microsoft recently announced that they want to, they're showing some sort of interest in metaverse. And in case you didn't know, Microsoft actually owns Activision Blizzard. So it's you're kind of jumping through a hoop to say they're going to use Shiba, but I mean, there is that connection there.
Well, there's no doubt they're trying to find a way to make the metaverse, get their piece, find it out, figure it out. Microsoft and the gaming community is obviously, we've talked about a lot of the metaverse games. Trying to make the metaverse something other than just a game is like, how do you score that, right?
Like, I saw JP Morgan, they made a stake in the metaverse. I don't know. I think it was in Decentraland. They made some sort of like lounge where you could just go and sit and
they're trying to get
about a bank. Yeah,
fiat banks inside of decentralized metaverse land.
Yep. But it's just like a lounge where people can go and talk, and it's kind of strange, but they made their presence known, I guess. Not like I've done that before.
They understand where it's going. Speaking of well, not metaverse, but NFTs we were talking about earlier with John. So there was a big hack in OpenSea. It wasn't really a hack, it was phishing. So I think there was some kind of email or direct message or something went out to like big NFT holders asking them to sign in to send their crypto to like this new secure wallet, and people did it. Like it was just like it looked like an official email, and they logged in and sent their NFT to a new place or like a new, just asked them to do something, and they did it, and then like they get mad that their NFT is gone. It's just like you're an idiot, you're dumb. And this apparently one of the guys is suing OpenSea's Timothy McKimmey, previous owner of Bored Ape 3475, is seeking a return of Bored Ape. So he wants it back, which they can't do because, like, how are you going to do that?
Right. You're not going to do it unless the person gives it back.
And then damages for over $1 million for a lawsuit. So he's suing them because his ape was stolen, because they allow a bug that allowed attackers to purchase the non-fungible token for previously listed prices, often significantly below market value.
Right, basically, he bought it for like 0.1 ETH, and then like he sold it for like 99 or something like that.
Yeah, he's saying it's worth 1.3 million, and it's currently on sale for 225 ETH, roughly 592,000. But like, yeah, if you read his thing, it's like he's blaming OpenSeas for their lack of like. So I guess, I mean, in theory, I can see like that maybe there's something that OpenSea could have done to like protect user error, but I mean, it's user error. If you
ultimately, it's in your possession. I mean, if someone says, "Hey, I got this brand new wallet, you want to send it to here?" and then you're like, "Oh, this seems legit. Let me do it." I mean, that's just like you did it. You
It's
know,
the same thing. It's the same thing with banks and people getting scammed with Zelle or like all the little third party like money sending apps. Like if someone calls you and says, "Hey, I need you to send me $5,000 and send me $5,000 back," it's like, what? I'm not
Right.
sending you $5,000. And ultimately, those transactions, I don't think the banks like back you up. So OpenSea wasn't hacked, but they did end up losing like.
I mean, it was on their platform, so it was like on their watch in some regard, but not directly their negligence.
Right, so maybe everyone needs to have two-factor, and everyone needs to you need to
Right?
call.
Why isn't there multi-sig, NFTs or like?
Well, the
Why
problem is people
why
willingly
wouldn't you
did
just
it.
be a little bit more discretionary, like when it comes to that? Like if it's worth that much money, and it's just like ding, oh, new message, oh, we got a new wallet, it's an upgrade. Oh, that sounds cool. You just like buy right into it. Like you just fall
Right.
for anything.
Call up OpenSea and say, "Hey, I got this email. Is this?"
Yeah, be like, what is this? Like, is this legit? Like you just transferred it to the guy's wallet. He sent you a message, you transferred it to the guy's wallet.
Right. So just not very smart people in the game.
I mean, hey, we all make errors, so learn from it and do better.
I thought this was interesting since it is tax season. This was just like a couple examples of people having issues through their cryptocurrency portfolios over the years and kind of getting screwed up, mainly because they weren't thinking about the taxes that are required to pay while you're trading crypto. So like some examples were, trading and making $100,000 on like Femex with leverage, and then you continue to trade, but then you lose the money the following year or like the following tax season, but then you had technically had gains in the following year, so like you didn't, and she had no money or something like that was an example. Or another example is you make all these gains, but then there's you hold on to the crypto and it loses value, and ultimately these people just didn't have the money to pay their taxes. So I guess the point being is if you're making crypto transactions as of right now, they are taxable gains on just like you would have stock. So I'm just putting it out there for people to pay attention. Like this is a good example. This guy he had a whale, owned a ton of Bitcoin. He was airdropped $2 million worth of Bitcoin Cash when Bitcoin was forked into Bitcoin Cash. And that wasn't a taxable event because it was treated as income.
Right. Yep.
Which I didn't realize Bitcoin Cash was that when they did that was a airdropped like fork to current Bitcoin holders.
Huh. No, I wasn't aware of that either. But I mean, you got to kind of know the implications of what you're doing. I mean, just read up in some regard.
All right. So he had $2 million, which, okay, you were airdropped literally $2 million. So why are you? This is funny. It's like, yeah, why are you complaining? Like you can't shed too many tears when you got $2 million out of thin air. But he had to pay tax on it. So I guess that's like that could screw you up if you weren't paying attention.
Oh, poor.
So yeah, just we continue to figure out what the tax requirements are. This was an article, just someone giving some hypotheticals. Like Bitcoin is, we've talked about this. Bitcoin uses the SHA-256 algorithm as its mining, in its mining algorithm itself for the cryptographic proofing. And apparently, I guess that SHA-256 came from the NSA. Like it was built. That cryptographic proofing strategy was derived in code wise by the NSA. So people are just saying, hey, is there some backdoor to that? Which I think has been vetted. Like it's open source.
I think that's like Bitcoin myth.
So this is just saying hypothetically, like, hey, by the way, like this was developed by the NSA. Could it be some way, somehow insecure? And I think they ultimately go back and they walk it through and kind of go the history of how this has been vetted, but just a thought that's out there. It's funded by the state.
Interesting. Huh.
This is a little chart, just someone doing some technical analysis. I think it was interesting. So this is over our current run right here, or like we're sitting right here in the last 6 months. So this is like the big run up in 2021. So long term, you can see the Elliott waves and corrections impulses. So they're just saying if you're looking at these kind of market technical analysis charts, the running flat or the running triangle, presumably we're due for a big impulse in this fifth Elliott wave after the RSI is way down low, and
I believe it.
Yeah, so I think that's just we got to hold on tight a little bit and just get out of this little sideways transaction.
Get through the Russian ordeal.
Right. So that's just positive news. Mike, you sent me this one. California's new bill proposes to make Bitcoin legal tender.
Wow.
This is on the heels of Arizona.
Okay.
Right, and Texas. So it's like a bunch of different states.
So they want to make it legal. Yeah, it says, yeah. So scoring crypto ready index. So that's just doing the states and someone's making a crypto ready index. But basically, they're trying to accept Bitcoin as a tax payment. So I guess there's a lot of people in California that probably own crypto and they want to pay their taxes potentially in crypto. Obviously, the California Assembly is interested in owning and holding crypto. Okay. So just another state that's
caused all this. I'm kind of curious, like what's the catalyst for this?
Why would they want to accept it as income?
Yeah. I mean, I just feel like a year ago it's like, well, this isn't real, yada yada yada. And now it's like you see all these states doing a 360 or a 180,
I mean, I guess they're opening their eyes a little bit.
What is it? They fight you and they laugh at you and then they accept something.
Yeah, that's cool. It's pretty cool.
I think if you're trying to be like a leading edge, like on technology, which I think California at least has tried to be with Silicon Valley, like you need Bitcoin probably to.
Right.
You need Bitcoin to do Bitcoin-esque things, and you need to show companies that are within the blockchain technology that you're a proponent of it. It's going to make those transactions easier for those companies and those businesses.
Right. I saw other article. It was like Georgia and maybe Illinois were like incentivizing mining and like better power rates and all that. So a lot of states are picking up on this stuff and trying to get in early to get companies to come to them.
Right.
Yeah, I know California has a big problem with people, trying to leave the state. I wonder if this is just kind of like an attempt to be like, hey, look, we're kind of hip and cool. We're trying to be the, Bitcoin leading state or whatever,
I think it's definitely part of the equation. Like that's how people like just like Mike was saying, this jurisdictions are trying to incentivize that because they know the technology, that's the next wave of businesses and things coming in. They want those people to set up shop where it's most advantageous to your business. And that's one way for California to show that they can do that. So,
yeah.
But why would you want to move to California right now? I'd say no.
Yeah, right. I mean, it made me like for 1 second think like, oh, I guess it's not that bad. And I was like, no, it's bad. I was like,
it's not that bad. I guess they accept Bitcoin. Yeah, Mike, I just saw an article about FutureBit Apollo. It's a miner, Bitcoin node and miner all together, little package. So we can run a full node. Apollo is built on a revamped platform, 6-core CPU, 4 gigabytes of RAM, 1 terabyte hard drive. You plug and play. It's like it's a hardware wallet. It's all the full package all in one, and pretty affordable. It's only like $875 if you buy it with the power supply in the full node configuration.
What's it hashing at?
It's only like 2.3 terahash, so obviously very little.
Right. Yeah. To none.
Yeah, I mean, basically making like $2 a day in actual revenue. It's only a 200-watt power supply, so it's like
So it's
50
like
cents
a box.
It's
right?
like a box, yeah.
bulk
So
cell box.
you could buy this for $574. You could buy. I mean, it's not going to like pay you back immediately, obviously, at this current.
You're running the node to be secure to support the network.
Right. So
You
it's
have a
kind of.
you
I
have
just
a
thought it was
wallet.
cool. Yeah, I just thought it was cool that it's not your standard Bitmain. It's a different manufacturer. You can link them together like this. So like one node runs multiple standard units that are the cheaper ones to like link up your hash rate, and they ship quickly. So if you're looking for like a, made in the USA miner that's relatively easy to get and relatively cheap,
Right.
there's your option. So
Well, we were anticipating Intel to start getting part of the game, which is, as the hash rate shifts to the US, we need to see more production of, the miners here. I would like to see,
I wasn't even sharing my screen this whole time. You guys even?
No, you weren't. I was like, what are we looking at? Sorry.
Yeah. The future. This is the little guy right here. It's a nice little box. But yeah, $899 with like the full setup, PSU, the controller, which I guess you need to buy this like to start, but then you could choose to buy these cheaper ones,
Right.
as expansion packs. But made in the USA, I thought, like you just said, Intel's. There's more competitors coming, and they're going to get better and better.
Right. Yeah, I mean, they're definitely incentivized to start making miners, and yep.
This was an article about mining infrastructure and a vulnerability that could be an issue. So the way they described this was, I guess, these animals. And imagine, here down at the bottom, like you have a hare that's fast and agile, but it's weak and can only go short distances. It's not like easily. It's not robust. Small little mining farms, 1 kW to 10, 20 kW. So like these could be people at their house, like whatever. Then you got a horse, 50 kW to 10 megawatts, like pretty big, powerful, plentiful. But then you have these elephants that are 5,000 servers. So these are like the Marathon Digitals of the world. And basically what it's saying is like, if for the nightmare situation right here, this night terror, if for some reason the captive elephants of the mining network dominated the network so much so that it had 90% of the Bitcoin hash power in a dozen sites in the world. So if it's centralized enough. Hey, we had a comment. Sorry, we had a comment on someone was asking about what the miner was. That was called the Apollo miner, by the way.
Can you put the link in the comments or something?
Yeah, I will. I don't have the link anymore. I closed the damn thing. But yeah, it's called the Apollo. It's called FutureBit Apollo.
There you go, FutureBit
Apollo. There you go. Yeah, so if 99% of the Bitcoin mining was on these big elephant sites, basically like big boy mining places, if there was a strategic crippling of their power and their network, like like if Russia came and shut down 4 of those places, there'd be this significant drop in hash power because they're so consolidated in these big elephant Bitcoin mining farms. You could have a reduction in so much hash rate that the block, and without the difficulty adjustment that takes a certain amount of blocks before it changes, you would have like up to 990 minutes of waiting for the next block to be, theoretically found. So I guess what they're just saying is what we don't want to happen is for these massive companies to ultimately consolidate and own all the hash. So the better, obviously, the more decentralized it is, the better for everybody.
Yes.
But there is a scenario where the mining hash rate is too centralized and therefore could be one form of vulnerability if we don't change the way the hash rate or the difficulty is determined.
Adjusted.
And
Right.
adjusted, right.
Like if it drops more than 30% at one time, then it could adjust the difficulty like within the next couple blocks. Like that should be like trigger.
Yeah, like some kind of, and I don't know what the impact would be. Is that like, does that have its own securities? Like someone could leverage that and make it
Right. Yeah.
super easy. And then,
Well, I mean, like the reduction from China, I mean, that was pretty big, right? They banned it and then it just like the hash rate like dropped off. So, I mean,
well, and this article does talk about, they reference that. They were like, well, let's look at what happened when, 50% of the, or a huge portion of it did
right.
get
Just
taken
turn off.
offline.
Right.
But we kind of just moved through it. And it wasn't really that big of a deal. So I think
Right.
this is more like a hypothetical. Could it be a problem? Just something to think about for the.
No, it's always good to be thinking
Yeah,
ahead.
actually.
You got a plan. So,
Look at that. That's cool looking. All right. Yeah. So you guys both don't have cameras. I'm the only one on this, so I might as well should just be me. Should just be welcome to Adam.
there we go. There we go.
Welcome to
Adam
Crypto.
Show.
Oh, now you're all back. Oh, John, you just didn't want to eat on camera. Mike, I don't know what you were doing.
Mine like kicked off and I didn't realize it was just off on the camera thing. And I was like, oh, I can just hit the button for some reason.
Lord, we're never gonna make it out of this show without a technical problem.
It happens. As long as I'm not sending crypto to the wrong address.
Right. Just keep stack-a-lacking, DCA, and we're in there to win it. We had I had recently just restaked my Luna. I pulled my Luna out, and I wanted to put it into the earn program. Was making like 20%, on a daily. It's like not that much compared to what I had. But then I took that out and I put it back into Luna staking. So that's my current move for this week. Was just getting Luna back. I converted back from UST to Luna, so that was.
All right.
I'm envisioning it going up from here, I guess is my point.
Hopefully.
Yeah,
Not financial advice.
not financial advice.
Entertainment only.
I still have a couple people that I know that are holding out, maybe making some bigger buys, but hey, this is kind of close. It's got to be close to the bottom. I mean, I know
Yeah, I mean, people are fearful. It's like an extreme fear. That's when people get, can make some gains. Buy when everybody's scared. So, and when everybody else is like happy, that's when maybe you skim a little off.
That's when the payday is.
Yeah, you just wish you had a big pile of cash to buy it when it dips, but you don't always have that, unfortunately. So, no other fundamentals have really changed. We're still, if anything, we just showed you a bunch of articles that are showing momentum in Bitcoin's favor. Use cases of decentralized finance outside of authoritarian governments.
Right. Ultimately, they couldn't seize the funds. They couldn't just stop it. If
That's
it
like
was
one of the
bank,
biggest
they
use
just-
cases of decentralized money is exactly that. So whether you're thinking your government's doing the right thing or not, you have the option at least to decouple from it. So what we do need to see right now is a decoupling from the stock market.
Right. Yes.
Stocks go
And
down.
it could be
Stocks
painful.
go
a little
down
bit.
because we're recessing, or you're going into like a recession or something. Wars happening, and then Bitcoin just finds
Right.
its way.
Maybe it's got to go somewhere. I mean,
What do you
that's
think
also it's good to diversify. So don't keep everything in one.
What do you think it'll take for that to happen, to decouple from the stock market?
Good question.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like, what if if what would drive the stock market down? Like, would be some kind of
Well,
crisis.
inflation. Yeah, I mean, and then they're saying it could get worse with that, with the conflict, and then the quantitative tightening, which means like the Fed is like not adding to the balance sheet; it's like selling assets, which makes everybody. They're not just printing money, which is going into the system artificially, just building it up and up. Because people get the money, they invest it, and then that like makes the market go. And then now, if that's the taps turned off, you're not going to have that effect.
I mean, when you talk to a normal just say, John, you go to work, or I guess you work for yourself, but if you go to if you talk to somebody, if you met some random person at Starbucks who wasn't necessarily a crypto user or crypto enthusiast, and you asked them about Bitcoin and do they trust it, most general people in the world were like, I don't know, I don't either understand it or I don't. What if it just goes to zero? What's it worth? Like, I think it's in order to decouple from the stock market. I think that
Enough people have to know about it.
The understanding of what it is and where it's going. People are going to have to. That's what's going to be, because like right now it's still an outsider of. It's still an uncertain asset to a lot of people.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always going to be. There's always going to be some people that don't understand it or it doesn't. They don't trust that it's going to go. It's always going to have value, but
it's going to be exponential. It's going to take off. I mean, the wallet numbers are there, created, that have Bitcoin in it, that have been active. Like, even with Ethereum created wallets numbers. So, it's going to be adopted. It's going to take time, but it's going to just be this exponential number.
So we'll see. Right now, we just got to keep on holding on, holding on, get through the valley of death here. It's not a crypto winter yet, but it is getting a little chilly. It's getting a little chilly.
Trying to thaw out.
All right. Well, thank you for watching. We have someone live on Facebook right now. Thanks for participating.
With us.
We will close it up here. John, any last closing statements?
Sure. That's about it. Just like Mike said, we're thawing up here. I think we can see the brink of spring here. Hopefully, we might have one little last drop, hurrah! But I think after that we should be good.
Right, we're waiting for the blossoms.
Yeah, sure.
All right, get the
Ready
fertilizer out. We need some shit to Grizzo.
Yeah, fertilizer smells like poop. But, yeah.
Mike uses that poop fertilizer. You use that. You use the chemicals, bro.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's roll the show. Here we go.
Here comes the money.
Till next time, John. Whatever you eating looks delicious. All right. Adios. Peace.
Peace, y'all.